Okay, so this is the pathogen mode of nutrition. Biotroph, necrotroph, and hemibiotrophs. Okay, so biotrophic pathogens, how they do it is they will form a hostoria. Okay, ni. So this is so for example, this is the fungal, kan, fungi ni, and this is the plant cell wall, the plant membrane. Okay, cell membrane, and then hostoria ni dia akan masuk dekat dalam ni. Okay, dia inject, okay, through the cell membrane. Okay, so necrotrophic pathogens is when the plant cells die around where the pathogen is growing. So remember, necrotrophic pathogens ni where the pathogen will kill the plant, but not necessarily the whole plant, but it will kill the cells around the entrance of the pathogen. When are diseases serious? Okay, so before we want to know whether this disease is the level of severity of that disease tu dekat mana, then we have to know dia punya infection cycle dia. Okay, so the infection cycle of a pathogen, they have two: polycyclic and also monocyclic. Okay, so from the name itself, we know that it is a cycle that will continue a lot of times because it is a poly. Monocyclic, it is a cycle for one only because it is mono. So most fungi, because usually the pathogens, they are from the fungi. Some of them are from bacteria as well, but usually from the fungi. And we know that they will reproduce and they will spread by using their agent is the spores. So spores ni from the fungi, the fungal spores ni, they are very resistant, okay, to the adverse condition. And because of that characteristic, they are resistant, they can withstand extreme conditions. Then because of that, they can disperse their spore through this mechanism. Okay, so for example, the first one is through wind. So kalau wind tu, because long distance dissemination, then it will go through a lot of places, a lot of harsh conditions. Then spores ni memang they can survive. So it's the same with water as well. So through water, they can disperse their spores. And then wherever the water lands, that the spores will land as well, and they will infect whatever plants available there. And also through vectors. Okay, so most viruses, they need to have vectors. Yeah, so vectors for viruses usually insects lah. Okay, and usually, especially is aphids. So the effect of environment on the disease severity. So these are the physical, chemical, and biological factors that can increase or decrease the disease severity. So for example, for the physical factor of the environment, temperature. Okay, so for any disease, there will be an optimum temperature because these are living organisms. So if the living pathogen, okay, the living organisms of the pathogen, their optimum temperature is at 37 degrees Celsius. And here in Malaysia, our tropical country, the temperature is always, not always, most of the time is 37 degrees Celsius. Then it favors the growth of the pathogen. Next one is moisture. Okay, so moisture usually for fungi because fungi, they love moisture. More moisture, more fungi, more disease, more severe. Okay, something like that. And then is the chemical factor of the environment in terms of the soil fertility and also the soil pH. If the soil fertility, it is very rich in nutrients, then the living pathogens, they like to stay in there and they can infect the roots of the plants available. And also the pH. If the pH is acidic is very low, there are pathogens that like that condition. If it is neutral or if it is alkaline, there are pathogens that are always love or favor that different and specific condition. The next one is the biological factor of the environment. For example, the availability of vectors. So if they are available of the vectors, vectors are available, then they can tumpang inside the vectors and they can infect anything. So the presence of organisms that are antagonistic to the pathogen. Okay, so if there are living organisms that will be the enemy to the pathogen, then the disease severity will be reduced because ada yang melawan pathogen tersebut. And also human activity. So this is very important. Anthropogenic influence. The human activity itself, it can influence to the disease severity. Sama ada increase the severity ataupun decrease the severity. How to control the plant disease? There are a lot of methods, and these are the methods that we have shortlisted. And so we're going to have a look at one by one. So it's the exclusion of the pathogen, avoidance of the pathogen, cultural practices, chemical control, disease resistance, by using novel methods through biological control and also biotechnology. But the best thing is, if we can do is integrated disease management. Okay, let's have a look. So for the name itself, we know exclusion of the pathogen is meaning that how to control the disease is by excluding the pathogen. Okay, so ensure that whatever cuttings of the plants that we are using, ensure that there are no pathogens. If we use the cutting of the plants or the seeds of the plants that are sick already, then we are not controlling the plant disease. Okay. The second one is the avoidance of the pathogen. So we avoid, because we know that pathogen, it will be always there in the plot of our crop or plantation. So we have to avoid that. So we can grow plants where pathogen is absent or the conditions are unfavorable for it. So for example, kalau pathogen is absent tu mungkin is kind of difficult, but conditions that are unfavorable for it. So for example, if the pathogen, they prefer soil pH of acidic, then what we can do is we can make our soil not acidic, make it a bit neutral ataupun alkaline lah sikit. Okay, so for example ni, seed potatoes. Mana ni? Okay, so seed potatoes in the UK, they grow and produce their seed potatoes in Scotland and also northern England. Why? Because they want to avoid the pathogen. Right? So because in these locations, Scotland and northern England, they are away from the major production areas, because when we have a major production areas nearby to our plantation or crop, memang pathogen are always there because it's very dirty, kan? All the pollutants are there. And also these two places are unfavorable for aphids. Okay, and usually unfavorable to late blight, because usually late blight problem ni, late blight disease, they infect potatoes and tomatoes, usually these two, okay, crop. The third one is cultural practices. Okay, so cultural practices ni kita punya gaya hidup kita, our lifestyle. So hygiene, sanitation, we have to make sure that hygiene is always taken care of. And then crop rotation. So crop rotation, if you are aware, contohnya if ada plantation for oil palm, kelapa sawit. So after one harvest, they do not straight away tanam another oil palm. So mungkin dia akan tanam pisang dulu ke, and then after that dia akan buat oil palm balik. Okay, so that crop rotation, it will make it the pathogens that are specific to one crop, and then after that kita tukar kepada crop lain, they won't survive, so they will die off. Okay, so just imagine kalau we do it oil palm, habis oil palm, another oil palm, then the pathogen that are specific to that oil palm, dia akan continue lah to spread, okay, towards all the batch tu. And then destroy crop residues. So if pathogen can survive on them between growing seasons. So for example yang oil palm tadi tu dah habis satu, dah harvest, and then we want to tumbangkan semua, nak clearkan, then all the waste tu we have to destroy. Jangan letak tepi je, because the pathogens are still there. Okay. Chemical control. So chemical control, usually we use the fungicides, pesticides, ataupun this is very specific to the fungi, so we use the fungicides. And fungicides ni ada two categories, protectant and also the systemic. So kalau protectant, usually dia akan on the surface of the plant only. Okay, dia protect against the infection, and it is non-specific because it is on the surface of the plant sahaja. Okay, it needs frequent application, and it needs large amount, and they are very expensive. So besides the protectant mechanism, what they prefer is the systemic fungicide. So systemic fungicide, it is taken up by the plants, so it kills the pathogens after the infection. So it's very specific, okay, non-toxic to other organisms, and less hazardous to the environment, low doses, and economical. So that's why farmers, they will prefer to use the systemic fungicides rather than the protectant. However, when we use any pesticide lah, okay, in this case is the fungicide, of course we will encounter the problem of resistance. Sebab pathogens kan, because they are living organisms, they will evolve, they will develop resistance to them. Okay, so how to manage this resistance? Kita tak boleh nak eliminate the resistance. So how we can manage, how we can control ataupun slow down the development of the resistance tu is strategi dia. Do not overuse the fungicide. Guna setakat yang perlu sahaja, whenever is necessary. Okay, use different fungicides at different times, supaya tak adalah macam dia dah biasa sangat dengan fungicide tersebut. And use mixtures of fungicides. This is very good. So for example, we have 5 different types of fungicides. Instead of using one fungicide and then use another one, then we can mix them. Then pathogen, it will be very difficult to develop the resistance to the mixture of fungicides. Now, disease resistance. Okay, so there is a saying that most plants are resistant to most pathogens. Okay, why? Because plants, they are very clever, they are very brilliant. They are very protective of themselves as well. Sama juga macam manusia kan, if we see any threats coming onto us, kan, mestilah kita akan protect ourselves. So sama juga dengan plants. When they see that there are threats coming to them, so they akan protect. So macam mana? They produce chemical toxin, lepas tu enzyme. They have a structural barrier. Dia akan strengthenkan cell wall dia supaya tak boleh nak infect. And also hypersensitive response, where they localize the cell death. So cell tau bukannya tissue ke ataupun the whole plant tu. Okay. Alright.